Hello and welcome to the WARC Podcast. My name's Alex Brownsell and I'm the head of content at WARC Media. Today's media ecosystem is in thrall to the algorithm. So Reddit's recent rise to prominence in the ad market might seem a little counterintuitive. For starters, it's more than 20 years old. By digital standards, that's basically geriatric. Here's a platform whose super strength is hundreds of millions of users communicating mainly through text messages across an almost infinite number of community groups. It doesn't sound like the future of the internet. And yet, since its IPO 18 months ago, Reddit's ad business growth has outstripped even the most bullish of industry forecasts. Confused? Well, thankfully for you, there is a WARC Media report that's just launched looking at Reddit's rise and explaining why maybe it's happening. In a short moment, I'll be joined by Ayaz Hussain, paid social account director at VCCP Media, to explain what all this means for brands. But first, I'm going to be talking to Celeste Huang, media insights analyst at WARC Media, who is also the lead author on the report.
Lions Learning doesn't just teach, it transforms. Like the Master of Advertising Effectiveness led by James Herman, which gives you the evidence-based principles to create campaigns that deliver commercial results. This 6-week online program equips you with a complete understanding of effectiveness principles that make your work more consistent and successful. The October cohort is filling fast. Ready to go? Visit learning.lions.co today.
Celeste, welcome to the WARC Podcast. Reddit, let's just get straight to the point. And before we start, a question for our audience. Are you a Redditor?
I'm definitely one, and thanks for having me. Excited to share the findings we have for this report. Yeah.
It was a great report, and it's really good to discuss a platform that is much talked about at the moment. Why is it so talked about at the moment? Why was now the moment to look at Reddit in our Platform Insights series?
Yeah, so Reddit really had that explosive and robust ad revenue growth since 2024 when they start publishing their ad figures. And just to give you some numbers, in 2024 last year, their ad revenue actually clocked 50%. So that's a very, very big number.
So 50% growth year on year.
50% growth, yeah. And according to WARC Media, our own forecast, Reddit is going to collect 2.5 billion ad revenue next year. Reddit now is the fastest growing major social media platform, despite its smaller scale. So to put things in context, so the total social market is forecast to reach over 300 billion next year. But once you put Reddit in, it's only 0.4% share of the total social market. Yet, just in the past Q2, it reported a whopping 84% year-on-year growth for the past quarter.
One of the great things about WARC Media is we have this large archive of data that goes back decades, and more. So what we can do is we can have a look at how what's happening today compares to what happened historically. And I think one of the things that we did in the report was look at Reddit's acceleration, how that compares post-IPO, how that compares with the growth of other platforms historically. So what did we find?
Yeah, so to just give the big review. So it only took Reddit 1 year to cross that 1 billion threshold in ad revenue, but it took Pinterest 4 years. So the analysis we're talking about here is we also did a deep dive on that very topic. So we took, let's say, comparatively similar, the mid-sized platform, Twitter, now known as X, Pinterest, Snapchat, and Reddit. We indexed the growth. And we look at the same 16 quarter, which is now how many quarters Reddit has published its ad revenue. And we look at the index growth. And we saw that you see this upward trend for both X, Pinterest, Snapchat, but they started to get subdued and declined as you reach the end of the 16th quarter. But for Reddit, it just keeps going up. It is a very cool chart, and that article is published on WARC Media site, so WARC Media subscriber can access the full article and look at the chart. And so in the industry analysts actually are saying that Reddit is now defying this mid-sized platform trap that a lot of smaller platforms are facing. But it's also worth to look at the wider development of the media ecosystem over the past decades. So we say it took Pinterest 4 years to cross that 1 billion threshold, but Reddit only a year. We cannot discount the fast development of ad tech, programmatic, AI, and measurement. So that's definitely one factor.
Yeah, so basically, it's not necessarily a completely fair comparison because it's actually easier today to scale an advertising business than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
And marketers are seemingly curious or excited by what Reddit is doing in the advertising space. Why do we think we are seeing that attraction?
Yeah, so Reddit has a really strong, distinct characteristic, which is that human-centric, conversational-based engagement on the platform. So they like to call that non-performative. They call themselves an alternative to social media, which I found interesting because now we're seeing the traditional known social media platform turning into entertainment platform. You have video consumption, it's more passive scrolling. But on Reddit, which is heavily text-based, you got people actually writing, engaging, reading, and responding. To some extent, it is connection, and it is that social, that's that high intent, hard to reach audience that advertisers want to get on. And
there is definitely an irony, isn't it, that the future of the internet is the web forum that's been around since forever.
Yeah, it's making a comeback, and I'm definitely one of them. So Reddit reports its daily active usage over 100 million in Q1, and its ad reach is reported to surpass that of X. And it is really that personal, conversational engagement that brought both the user and advertiser in. And it also calls itself the hub, the resource of all knowledge. So there is also that element of rivaling the search answer you'll find on Google. So it can also become, maybe down in the line, will become the alternative to search. And a quarter of the Reddit posts, it's recommendation-based. So people recommending brands, service, a product. And I find it fascinating what they said in one of the recent earnings call. It's that people put a query on Google, and then they will add the keyword of Reddit. So they go to Google for question, but expect Reddit to have the answer. So I think that summarizes it very nicely.
Yeah, definitely. And we know that the relations between Google and Reddit are getting closer, and that's something maybe we'll touch on in a bit. Reddit probably, at least for a little while, has existed in the sort of test budget, test campaign, see how it goes. But, we're seeing some evidence that marketers are getting positive enough results, they're coming back again.
Yeah, so Reddit itself does a lot of meta-analysis and focusing actually on the positive outcome that organic engagement can achieve. So first of all, you need the trust element is high, right? And 76% of the Redditors, which means people that use Reddit actually think the contents are more honest and truthful. I certainly use Reddit a lot, and I do use Reddit to search for products, search for a question that needs to be answered. And on Reddit, over 1/3 of the posts are viewed a year later. So you keep getting this post resurfaced, and there are new people reading it. So there's definitely that long-term effect as well. Should the brand be mentioned? Just give you some stats from one of their measurement study that they did. So when we look at the engagement conversation, how that have contribute to more positive outcome, one organic post per week by the brand can result in more than 3% of the positive mention from other users in Reddit. And that leads to another crucial point, which is brands need to appear genuine and authentic. Reddit is a place where people are really have tight knit with each other in the community, the interest, and they might go there, light user might go there looking for an answer, but if something is not genuine, it's so easy to be spotted. And I've personally seen people mentioning how some brands doesn't show up genuinely on Reddit and you can just downvote it. So yeah.
It's been a really rapid transformation in terms of the advertising product for Reddit, and it's felt like new kind of products and tools are coming to the market at a really fast pace. What's coming next potentially for Reddit?
I think the first thing is definitely search, and social search is something that is a recurring theme for a lot of the digital platform, and Reddit, as the nature of the platform has it, people go to Reddit to find answers. So they have this Reddit answer, which is their AI search essentially. They already released some results that over a million users, over a million views weekly, just in Q1. So that human-centric coupled with that AI search is really going to be an interesting spot, maybe a very big pitch for the advertiser from Reddit's perspective. And as it has outlined its ambition to become maybe an alternative to Google, but we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, well, on the AI point, I mean, I think, Reddit is clearly, not to reduce everything down to training data, but it is some of the best training data you can possibly have for LLMs. What is Reddit's relationship with AI and with Google and some of those parties?
Yeah, so starting with AI, like all the digital platform now, AI is really their core pitch to advertiser, to user. You improve user experience by recommending relevant posts, moderated content, translate to different regional audience, and to the point you mentioned, it will be licensing their content. So I think it's earlier today, Bloomberg reported that Google and Reddit are looking to strike a deal to make Reddit answer appear as part of Google's AI overview, and that would really bring two powerhouses together. I think it's a smart move. It's a powerful move, an interesting move to see that AI technology and that human-centric conversational style of results merging together. So that's definitely something to look out for. And lastly, I think contextual targeting. For the nature of the platform, Reddit is so community-based, it's so interest-based. So you want to find those audience through the crack and in such a fragmented space. You want to find them, and then AI will certainly help that. This is also a shared theme I noticed among especially mid-sized platform. Ad optimization and targeting essentially will help small, medium business to come to the platform.
Fantastic. Thanks, Celeste.
Thank you.
Now for a quick word from our sponsors.
Great marketing starts with great insights, and that's what TMRE, the market research event, is all about. October 28th to 30th in Las Vegas, you'll spot what's next, turn data into action, and connect with leaders shaping how brands understand their customers. Get your pass at informaconnect.com/TMRE and save 25% with code WARC25.
So we've heard all of the facts and figures from the report. We understand all the numbers behind Reddit's rise. But what's important to understand is what it means at a brand perspective. Ayaz, welcome to the WARC Podcast. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
No, well, it's great to have someone here that has, I guess, the hands-on experience of working with social platforms. And I think this is where the interest in Reddit is for us. It's not a new platform. We've just been discussing that, but it's a new-ish platform from an advertising context. So interested to know, in your experience, from the brands that you see operating on Reddit, how are they approaching that advertising opportunity?
Of course, I think Reddit is definitely becoming more and more part and parcel of that high intent, middle of funnel, considered media plan approach. Whereas platforms like Meta or TikTok, they're traditionally built for scale. But on Reddit, we approach it like a search and like a forum hybrid. So people know what they're looking for. They're already on Reddit as consumers looking to discuss topics they're very, very passionate about. And so we're just intercepting them where they're already hanging out. And the beautiful thing about Reddit is that They know that they have a problem. They're looking for social proofing advice from other people who have passions, interests, experience with the same topic, whether that's something like travel insurance, or whether it's something like knee braces and things for health, or whatever the topic may be, there's a subreddit for it. And so we're often looking for advertising objectives that are very middle of funnel, like maybe traffic, sometimes video views, sometimes like an app install, or an action to get consumers to leave the Reddit platform and then go for high intent discoverability. What we found is that when people get to that website, they're staying longer, they're not bouncing as fast, and they're taking much more considered actions because they came from Reddit, not others.
That's really interesting. So actually what it means is that when brands are setting out on a Reddit campaign against, Meta or otherwise, the kind of goals and the framing and the desired outcomes might actually be kind of different.
Exactly. I think it perhaps wouldn't be the platform where you'd go and say, I want to achieve all my scale in my inventory. But it is the platform that I found the right people, the qualified customer who's ready to make a purchase-based decision and who could be that person where we use to take them off platform and really become like that perfect customer, that avatar that we've been trying to find, that you maybe can't find so well on other platforms like Meta, like the TikToks, the Snapchats and more.
I suppose it begs the question slightly, and this is something that I know Reddit, have put their opinion out there on. Does it belong in the social media segment, or is it a slightly unique media buy that actually requires a different kind of approach?
Oh, for sure, a unique approach. I think we're pitching it more and more and more nowadays, and it very much changes the behavior of how we approach targeting. So on other platforms, you target by interest. So people interested in this topic. On Reddit, you target a culture and a community. So you say there's a specific subreddit for home insurance, and I'm going to infiltrate that community, find what they're already discussing about. And there's 3 layers of targeting we can look at. So subreddit targeting, so with the names of the subreddits themselves. Then keyword targeting. So you can put in your competitor's keyword, and everywhere where they are being discussed, you can have an ad for your product or service there. And then interest targeting. So again, the broader, more macro terms. And what we found works best is when we do a bit of research before running the ads. So a community manager or an AI LLM model can summarize the whole of that subreddit. What are people talking about? What language are they using? What kind of phrases do they adhere to? What problems are they discussing? And instead of making your typical ad-ready content, we make very UGC, natural-looking content that feels like it's not an ad. And we're creating space in that culture and that subreddit to be of service to this community rather than trying to just hit them with ads. It has its own place in the media plan, like I say, very high intent.
Yeah. And just to come back then, to that question, as Reddit potentially does become a part of more and more media plans going forward, is that going to be part of the social mix, or is it going to have its own little special line kind of thing?
I think it's part of the mix.
Yeah.
I think so. It's the mass platform and channel mix we're already suggesting. It's on there already. We have tools like Smartly that are already integrating where part of your budget can hyperextend over fluidly into Reddit. And so we're very much putting it forward more and more and more for our campaigns. Yeah.
You've already mentioned it, like the sort of community element is so intrinsic to Reddit and why it's used as a sort of devoted kind of engaged participants in the platform. We've seen this in other parts of the ecosystem as well, Discord, for instance. Does that make life a bit harder for an advertiser who are, let's face it, a lot of platforms are becoming much more algorithmically driven, and that requires its own skills. Is it quite hard then, sort of a bit of a handbrake turn of then thinking in a more crafted way for communities who care so much or are so invested or are coming with a huge amount of intent into that space?
I think the communities recognize that when a brand actually cares and not just trying to sell to them. And so Reddit recently brought back the fan favorite Ask Me Anything approach. And so it's now a promoted post that you can do, create a actual post within a subreddit, and the community can ask their questions and you as the brand can respond. And I think there's so much trust and power in that, like someone is replying to every nuanced question that you have. And I think that's what being part of the community feels like. Whereas if you had your typical brand ads just being shown on the sidebar, it wouldn't feel as closeness to the brand. And so I think the community who care about them in many ways. And so from our perspective, like when we've seen brands actually want to be part of culture, want to be part of a community, they'll become a participant first, engage first before advertising in there.
At WARC, we are fairly obsessed with effectiveness, all things effectiveness. Does it work? That's kind of, the question that we always want to come back to. As I've said before, Reddit isn't new, 20 plus years old, but from an advertising product standpoint, these are new products that are sort of coming to market. So I guess the research might not be as in depth, but from the early signs, what sense are you getting about the effectiveness of Reddit for advertising and for the results that advertisers can get from it?
I think there's incredible opportunity in Reddit advertising. I think not only are CTRs almost double or triple of these industry benchmarks on other platforms, but the CPMs are cheaper and there's much more leverage one can gain by being first to market in the advertising space, or early to market, should I say, of being a quick mover and finding a little pocket of the internet where there's already a space, but not enough brands have taken advantage of the opportunity. And so I think in those cost efficiencies, you can drive that scale that brands are hoping for by getting quality inventory. And you're really marketing for attention, which is what something we truly believe in at VCCP. Is not about passive attention, it's about the active attention. And so we should flock to where the consumers already are. There's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, absolutely. The attention point is really interesting, and I'm sure we'll hear more from that over time. And the final question is, I suppose it's been only, I think, just over 18 months since Reddit's IPO. It's been a really, really fast-paced kind of evolution in that time. What are you looking forward to seeing from Reddit over the next, year or so? What do you think, is going to really make a difference for that platform going forward?
I think for me, it's in twofold. It's not only the mass adoption, really where it becomes part and parcel of every household consumer's like media mix, where they're more and more having a place and a space to conversate and have interaction. But also I think the ad products are constantly improving. And so they're becoming more and more intuitive to set themselves apart from other media platforms. We have the standard reach and frequency, the standard link clicks, but I think something like a promoted Ask Me Anything, as I mentioned, these are really special ad formats. I think you can take advantage of them and really be close to consumers by being ahead of the curve, really.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining. Really appreciate your time.
Honestly, thank you so much.
I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. If you are a WARC Media subscriber, you can access the full Platform Insights report on Reddit on the WARC website, and I recommend taking a look. If you don't already, please do subscribe to the WARC Podcast on your favourite podcasting platform. And if you really liked it, go on and leave us a review. Thanks for listening or watching. Bye-bye.